Welcome to another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. I'm your host, Stephen Bardo. Glad to have you guys joining us today. Um, First off, I want to send a very happy birthday to Dr. Harold Bardo, 85th birthday and going strong as ever. He and my mom, Lana Bardo. The family went down to Carbondale. We celebrated this weekend with Dad. So big ups to Harold Bardo, turning 85 and looking spry as ever. Quite a blessing to have my parents healthy and still with me. So I don't take that for granted. I hope that you guys, a lot of you, can say the same. Please enjoy your family as you can because you know they're so important. All right, we got a good one today. I got my man Rapheal Davis on an interview. We'll talk about these exhibition game results. There were a lot of exhibition games among Big Ten teams. I'm just checking my mic here, make sure I'm good. So we'll get into some of those. I'm going to do a deep dive on Illinois' exhibition game versus Ole Miss. A lot to learn. So we'll deep dive into that. I got a tribe member appreciation, and then I'll take your questions. So we got an action-packed show today. Get your beverage. Make sure you're comfortable because it's going to be a good one. All right. Ryan, hit that intro. All right. And don't forget now, you can join the tribe two different ways. Text me 312-847-2739, or you can go to bardostribe.com and get your free copy to the guide to the new Big Ten. Everything you need to know about the ever expanding conference that's known as the Big Ten, now 18. Pertinent information, links to interviews of coaches that we were able to get this summer. So great guide. Go get your copy today. Go to bardostribe.com, get your free copy, or you can join the tribe, 312-847-2739. Text me when you get a chance. All right. Let me get that out of the way. Let me bring Rapheal Davis up right now. In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, y'all? It's your man, Stephen Bardo, coming back at you with another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. I got my man, Rapheal Davis, in the house. Rapheal, what's going on, brother?
No, I can't complain. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, great to have you on, man. You jumped the gun a little bit. You got a chance to call an exhibition game, Michigan and Oakland, I think it was.
Yep, Michigan, Oakland.
Yeah, what were your early takeaways when you covered Michigan?
Yeah, I was impressed. I was impressed with how well they seemed synced together early on, especially with 11 new guys, new coach, even the 3 returning guys. They didn't play much winning ball last year, so it seemed as though early on they were all on the same page. I mean, they played hard. They got after it. They shared it. I think they had 21 assists on like 34 made field goals. And then they made 15, 16 threes. I think 8 different guys made a 3. And I mean, just their ability to switch lineups offensively, I think it's going to be impressive all season long. And then, I mean, just individually, like Danny Wolf is going to be a problem in the Big Ten. I think his ability to get simply, it's not going to be a lot of 4-men that are going to be able to get the ball off the glass and push it. And he cannot just push it, but he's able to make the right decision in transition, and that's going to help them a bunch because when that ball goes up and he gets the rebound, all of the guards go. Even Trey Donaldson doesn't just wait around for the ball and call for outlet. He sprints. So no matter who gets the rebound, they just go. So I think they'll be a real fast team. But I think if I was to pick one thing, I don't know if they're going to be as physical as other teams, even though they're going to be big, which could hurt them rebounding wise. But I think if they take care of the basketball and they make shots like they did against Oakland, I think Michigan should be back in the tournament this year, no problem.
What was there one player that really stood out to you that kind of surprised you?
I would say Danny Wolf surprised me. I know they talked about him being a guard and having guard skills, but coaches say everything about their guys sometimes. But he can do some things on the perimeter. He can make shots from deep. He can get into his pull up. he had a few post-up opportunities, and then his ability just to flat out just push to break off a rebound was impressive at that size. And before the game, you see him shooting, and he's making 5, 6 in a row from each spot. So I think he's going to surprise a lot of folks in the Big Ten. And then Trey Donaldson, just the complete floor general. I think he just has a really good floor game. He can score. He shoots it when he's open. He gets off of it, doesn't over dribble it, and I think that leads into everybody playing that way. Because Michigan, not one time did I feel like a guy tried to break a play and go get his own bucket. Everything was kind of within the sets, within the off. And Oakland plays that zone, so if you kind of know what to do against it, you kind of beat it a little bit. But Trey Donaldson probably had, if I was to go off the top of my head, I think he had 9 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. So I think that's going to be consistent with him. I think Reuben Jones is a guy that's going to be able to put pressure defensively on guys, and then he can make shots. And then Sam Walters off the bench, he just has one job: make shots from deep. Yeah. So when they go that lineup with Sam Walters, Danny Wolf, and then they put the 3 guards around them, you really just playing 5 out, pick your poison. And it's going to be interesting to see guys like Julian Reese have to step out, Bardo, or Freeman and those dudes or Jacobson and Will Berg at Purdue when they have to really guard Danny Wolf, and he can ISO you. And that's going to be interesting.
Okay. Good stuff, man. Looking forward to seeing you in the studio and doing some games here pretty soon, man. Season's right around the corner, man. Let's get to some of this good stuff. All right. So first question, what 3 players are you most excited to see play this season, Rapheal?
Yeah, I would start with Xavier Booker because you see him in the exhibition, you see him on the overseas trip. He's added some weight to the frame, and there was a sequence in the game in the exhibition. I mean, he shot a 3, he got a pull up, and he got a post up, and then he got a drive to the basket. So his ability to do multiple things offensively is really impressive at his size. I think if he has the type of season I think he can have, I think he'd be right back in the conversation to be a lottery pick. And then, because I think Michigan State will kind of be back to Michigan State a little bit this year with the attitude-wise and his guard play. And if he's able to rebound at a high level and just have a motor, I think he can have a special year. And then Trey Donaldson, I think if he's what I know it was an exhibition, and I know Oakland's not who Oakland was. That beat Kentucky right now, but if he's able to be just that consistent, I think Michigan will have a really good year. And then I think Ace Bailey. I mean, I know everybody with Cooper Flag #1, but I think Ace Bailey has a real chance to be the #1 draft pick. I think his ability to score offensively and his offensive package is special. I think if Ace and Dylan can figure out how to win games late, and that takes a while for young guys to be able to close out games and good shot, bad shot, when to execute, when to go. But I think Ace Bailey's going to be exciting too.
Oh, these are good choices here. I mean, everybody's waiting for Xavier Booker to bust out. I was a little surprised at Trey Donaldson's athleticism.
Yeah,
that's something that kind of
him a lob on a break
to me. Yeah, and then were you able to catch the Rutgers St. John's exhibition at all?
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked what I saw from Bailey and Harper. It's just that, this, Rapheal, they went back to what they used to in high school sometimes when they're just like, you know what, I don't trust anybody. I'm just going to take over and try to make this happen. The sooner that they can get that out of their systems, I think that they'll be outstanding. Because Ace Bailey, man, I think he was 4 of 9 from 3, but things come easy to him at 6'10", and he just, he looks Paul George-like out on the floor in terms of his skill set and what he's able to bring. So I like your 3 players. My 3 players are this, because I went down to Illinois' practice last week, Rapheal, and I got a chance to see Kasparis Giacochionis. He's the real deal.
Yeah.
And so before I went to that practice, I thought that the Big Ten freshman of the year would be up against Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. There's another one in the mix. This kid can really play. 6'6", strong, elite passer. Can score the basketball, loves to push, doesn't get off balance. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. We talked about Jackson Shelstad all season, about how quick this young man is, and the guy fact that he's got Kwame Evans, some other bigs around him that can really play. Really looking forward to seeing what Jackson's going to be able to do in this conference, because I think he's kind of got that athleticism, that Miles Rice, Kanan Carlisle type athleticism that the Big Ten at the guard position doesn't see a lot of. Right. So I'm kind of really excited for that. And then great Osabor, I mean, just the name itself, but I got a chance to interview him and talk to him at Big Ten Media Days. He's a delightful young man, great story. And like you mentioned with Danny Wolf, Rapheal, great Osabor can get the ball off the glass and initiate the break. Yeah. So Danny Sprinkle, head coach at Washington, is going to allow him to do some of that. So those two guys, great Osabor and Danny Wolf, I'm really looking forward to seeing play, because we don't, in this conference, you don't see a lot of bigs get it off the glass and initiate the break. You just don't see that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing those three. All right. Or did you want to make a comment on any of these guys?
No, I like those three. I like it. And I think any guy, and you look at Illinois, and if Kasparis is able to be the lead dog and Coach Underwood asserts him as that, normally when you're the lead dog in that offense, the volume you have, you're going to end up being an all-conference guy if they win the games. Like, you look at the guys that they've had, when they have a go-to guy, normally not even their go-to guy, their best player is always going to have a chance to be an all-conference guy, because just the volume they're going to play through him, and you see clips of him. And I think his overseas experience playing pro ball already, he's not going to be an average freshman, especially physicality-wise. He's kind of going to get used to the bumping and the grind a little earlier than normal freshmen.
No, I agree. I agree with that. Okay. Let's go to the second question. Which new coach philosophy or style will have the most success this season? Now, when I'm saying this, I'm throwing the 4 teams in, plus Michigan with Dusty May and Jake Diebler with Ohio State. Obviously, Diebler was the interim, but now he's a head coach. So I'm thinking of those 6 teams, right? And so your pick, Mick Cronin at UCLA. Why do you say that?
I just think the Midwestern roots of just knowing the Big Ten, the physicality of it. You look at UCLA last season. Since Mick's been there, they've kind of been that most physical team in the Pac-12, the team that you're going to go up against and know you're going to get beat up. You saw, what they did when they went to College Park and had to play Maryland. They blew the doors off those dudes early on in the game. That's when Maryland was on a run, a ranked team at that time. So, and then I think just the guard players they have. I think in the Big Ten, you got to have some bigs that can go rebound. I think coach has been able to do that, put that together. And then your guards, they got to be solid. And I think Dylan Andrews, Sebastian Mack, Sky Clark. I think those 3. I think that's the type of talent, and then the type of talent, type of toughness that you need to lead.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that UCLA will have Kobe Johnson, who will be one of the best two-way defenders and players that we're going to see in the Big Ten this year. So I like that Mick Cronin choice. My choice is probably one that you wanted as well, Dusty May, especially after being able to cover their exhibition game. I just like what I saw in that exhibition game, but I also, Rapheal, I'm kind of like, I like Matt Painter, like coaches, guys that they do their work early, but game time, man, they're pretty chill. They're not demonstrative, not getting on guys. Dusty May is that way. And it's so empowering to me to watch his teams play, and the fact that they're on the same page. There's a rallying cry of some sort. Roddy Gill Jr. looks like a different player to me. Yeah. We would see glimpses at Ohio State, but then he'd go, he's on the floor 10 minutes. You don't even know he's on the floor. He looked a little bit different. Like there's a little bit of an edge to him this season that I didn't see. I know it's early. I know it's an exhibition game, but he was hunting for his shots a little bit more aggressively. I thought he was using his athleticism a little bit better. So I think what Dusty May is going to bring in, and the fact that they had some really successful transfers in Reuben Jones, Vlad Golden, Sam Walters, Danny Wolf, those guys, Trey Donaldson, they did a hell of a job in the transfer portal. So I really like what Michigan's doing, and I think that they, out of those 6 teams, I think they may have the most success. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I agree with that, and I agree with Roddy Gale take as well. Just he looked calmer, he looked more confident, he actually looked a little slimmer. He just looked more about business, especially on the floor. He didn't pout, he didn't complain. the shot went up, he rebounded, didn't throw his hands up, expecting to get the ball. So, and then again, he's another guy that they had that can just push the basketball. And then I think what Coach May this season is going to help him is he has a back to the basket guy. And sometimes in the Big Ten, when it gets bogged down, when you got a safety release, you just throw the ball inside, you can get one. That helps. And I think Vlad is going to be one of the premier bigs in the league. One of the really, though, I mean, it's going to be new this year, but one of the 4 or 5 guys where you can throw it in there and they got some post game and some post moves, or somebody can go get off the glass and put back and things like just cleanup guys. So I think Coach May, I think they're going to have some success this year. I think the way they shared it in the exhibition, I don't think you can fake that type of stuff. I think they're on the same page and they're pretty fluid offensively.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. All right. Third question. Third out of 4 questions. Third question. Does the Big Ten get any Final Four teams this season? And if so, who?
I say it's a couple options. I think I start with I think you start with Purdue just returning off the Final Four. I think you have 3 starters from the Final Four. Like you can't overlook that type of experience or that type of confidence that those 3 guys have. And they're playing for a third back-to-back, a three-peat in the Big Ten as far as winning the Big Ten Conference outright. So I think if you put yourself in a position to win the Big Ten, you're having a successful season. And I think with Braden Smith being one of the better point guards in the country, if their freshmen can come on early as like Jakari Harris, if Daniel Jacobson and those dudes, if they can produce early and come along and be a factor, I think Purdue with the right matchups can get right back there because at some points it's all about experience and winning games. And then I think Rutgers, because I think Rutgers and Indiana, I think are 2 other ones because you get into the tournament, it's all about talent, pros, who can go, who can play that AAU style basketball. And I think what Coach Woodson's put together and Mbako and Renew and Ballo and Carlisle Rice and then Luke Goody and Galloway, I think that's the perfect combination. Then with Rutgers, I just think when you got two top 5 guys, if you just get the right matchups, it's all about hooping when it comes to March.
No, I like those choices. So you said Purdue, Indiana, and Rutgers. I like that.
Those would be my 3 if I had to pick 3.
I think I've got 2. I like Illinois, Rapheal. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
The guy that nobody's talking about, Tomislav Ivicic.
Yeah.
If they can get him eligible, because they messed with his brother last year and kept him out almost all non-conference. But if Tomislav Ivicic is eligible, watch out for Illinois in March, because this kid Will Riley, this dude can score in a phone booth, man. He's 6'8". He's got to tighten his handle up a little bit, Rapheal, but he's one of those guys that has a knack for scoring, and he's got that he's fascia strong. He's really light, but he's one of those guys that's like Reggie Miller, who was really thin, but they're really strong. Will Riley's kind of like that. And so when you got a guy you got Kylan Boswell, high level 2 seasons in Arizona. He not afraid of the lights. Kasparis Giacochionis, not afraid of the lights. Tomislav Ivicic has played overseas, not afraid of the lights. Will Riley, from what Underwood said, he's just got that pedigree that can get it done. And then, you've got guys like Marez Johnson, Ty Rogers, Drew Gibbs Lawhorn, Trey White is a dog. Jake Davis can shoot the lights off of it. They're deep. They're talented. I think Illinois might have as much talent as anybody in the conference. Watch out for Illinois. I think they'll be a Final Four dark horse. I like Indiana as well. I think that they're going to have enough offense to when things bog down. Miles Rice can go break you off the dribble. If Ja'Kai Newton can somehow come back and get any kind of health, he's the best athlete on the team. He could be a change of pace guy that they could bring off the bench. Kanan Carlisle's got a little Iverson in him where this kid can go get it, like low to the ground, explosive. They got spacers and Luke Goody, as you mentioned, and Mbako. Malik Renew can go for 30 on a given night. I like Indiana's talent. I like their depth as well. Those would be the 2 teams that I think would be my dark horses to make the Final Four.
No, I like those. I like Illinois.
Okay. All right. And then last one, who wins the Big Ten and why?
Man, I think I looked at some of the schedules, and sometimes I always say, I mean, I remember back to my senior year, Indiana won the league, and I didn't feel like Indiana was the best team. I felt like they had the best schedule. And
Yeah.
sometimes the best schedule will win the league. And I think if Purdue can get off to a good start with they have Maryland early, I think they have Rutgers early. They got a few teams that are depending on some younger guys and some transfers early that I think by the end of the season will be pretty tough. If they can handle non-conference early on, I mean their conference season early on, I think they'll be right there again. I think when it comes to winning the Big Ten, I think the formula you win your home games. So I look at Mackey as one of the best home environments. I think those three guys that they have returned, I think Cam Heide makes a jump. And then also the other top teams I have in the league are either freshly coming together like an Indiana where they're gonna take some lumps, they're gonna take some bruises, or they're all new. When you think of or not all new, but they're all in new roles, like a Michigan State where Jay Nagin's gonna take that jump into the number one guy. Now Fears is your starting point guard. So I think Purdue early on, I don't think they're gonna take as many losses to start the Big Ten. And I think once you kind of get off to a good I remember Michigan in 2014 with Stauskas and those dudes when they returned after Trey Burke, they got off to like an 8-0 run in the Big Ten, and they just went on to win it. And I think that's the type of thing Purdue can get to going.
No, I like that, Rapheal. I like Purdue to win because of their veteran backcourt and the fact that, like you said, their system seems to weather the storm of a 20-game Big Ten gauntlet better than other systems that we've seen now. That was dependent a lot on Zach Edey, but I still think Braden Smith being one of the most dynamic guards in the country, along with Fletcher Lawyer, Jakari Harris. I like the makeup of this Purdue team for a Big Ten title, right? You made a great point, though. Teams like Maryland, Rutgers, Illinois, let me think, is there anybody else that's really dependent on young talent? Those type of teams will be way more dangerous on the back end of the Big Ten than they will be at the front end because, as you said, they're starting to work things out. Here's another team that I'm gonna throw in there. People are gonna look at me like I'm crazy. Don't sleep on Wisconsin winning the Big Ten this year, because we talk about veteran play. 10 juniors, seniors, or grad players. 10 of them, right? So they've basically got 2 of everything. They've got really good depth. John Blackwell will be one of the best players in the conference. Max Klesmit can hit you for 20, 25 on a given night. Stephen Crowell has been through the battles. He knows every inch of every court in the Big Ten Conference. So I think Wisconsin could be a dark horse to win the Big Ten. I don't think they have the type of talent that could advance deep into the tournament. That's why I don't have them as one of my picks to go to the Final Four. But in terms of that night in, night out grind of the Big Ten, I like the veteran nature of Wisconsin moving forward. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, because you need guys that's been through it. And you think you look at Max Klesmit coming in Wisconsin. He came into a locker room that had won the Big Ten with Johnny Davis and those guys. So he kind of understood what it takes to win at that level. Stephen Crowell's been around for a while. I think Nolan Winter, I think he takes a jump this season. You hear Coach talk about starting and playing big. So you look at how you win games in the league, you got to rebound. So I think if Wisconsin's able to control the glass, I think if John Blackwell, Max Klesmit, 2 guys that rarely turn the ball over, you start there and you just have more possessions in teams. And I think when you go on a road in the Big Ten too, those are guys that have won in tough arenas. They've won in probably all of their away arenas. So I like Wisconsin as well. I think it would come down to if coach is going to let John Blackwell go. I think nowadays you got to let your guy go. And I don't know if there's a lot of times where your bad shot, you come out of the game. And I think sometimes you got to allow certain guys to take bad ones because that allows them to get into the flow to their good ones. So I think I can see it happening, and I think it's gonna be interesting because a lot of people, they're not talking about Wisconsin, but like you said, when Wisconsin is old, they're always dangerous, no matter who's on that roster.
All right, good stuff, Rapheal. You got anything else you want to add, or is that anything that we didn't cover that you want to mention?
No, I think that was good. I think outside of Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, just seeing those 2 play together. And seeing those two kind of grow throughout the year will be fun. Just seeing them from the exhibition, from kind of reverting to old ways, and now because the upperclassmen haven't been able to say anything to those guys all summer. I mean, because I know how it is when you get those high-rated guys and coaches, they're not too tough on them. They're not, you know what I mean? It's kind of, they're just floating through a little bit. So now that film session is a little different than what workouts have been. And now Jeremiah Williams has lost the game now for senior year. So now it's one of the things is the upperclassmen kind of got to have more word on the floor, and Rapheal Davis and those dudes. And then I think it's going to be interesting what Rutgers does with their backcourt, because right now they're starting 3 guards, and one of those guys may have to play less for them to have a shooter on the floor at all times, because I think they started to see that their floor started to shrink on them. But I think even Illinois, seeing all the teams kind of grow throughout the year.
No, I like what you're saying about Rutgers, because, you know, the thing that I'm going to be curious to find is, how does Jeremiah Williams find himself and be assertive inside of what Bailey and Harper are doing, because they're so ball dominant? How is Rutgers going to get Tyson Acuff to get in the mix as well? Because I know he's coming off injury and whatnot. Didn't play a lot in the exhibition against St. John's, but this dude can fill it up. And they're going to need guys like that. PJ Hayes was terrific in the exhibition game in terms of scoring, getting to the rim, being aggressive. Jordan Durkak showed his athleticism. So Rutgers is going to be one of those teams that's going to be fun to watch along with Illinois as well. So, no, great stuff, Rapheal, man. Look forward to seeing you. And thanks a lot for joining me today, my man. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, that was Rapheal Davis. Thanks to Rapheal for coming on and sharing his wisdom with me. All right, so now I had to come back to this a little bit because I wanted to figure out where we were going next. Here's where we're going next, guys. Ryan did a great job on this graphic. Let's talk some exhibition game results, shall we? Creighton over Purdue, 93-87, in spite of Braden Smith with drop 31. But Creighton, that high-octane offense, got it done with 93. We'll deep dive on Ole Miss and Illinois, 91-74 win for Ole Miss. We're going to deep dive on that next. Indiana gets an impressive exhibition win on the road. And guys, listen, these exhibition games, they don't count, but these guys are competing. And I don't know that anybody puts a jersey on to go out and lose. So the fact that Indiana goes on the road at Tennessee, one of the premier defensive teams in the SEC, that's a good sign for them, 66-62. Miles Rice was outstanding, 20 points, 4 assists in that one. USC might have had the most surprising outcome of the weekend. They beat Gonzaga 96-93. Terrence Williams III, you guys remember him from Michigan. I think he led Southern Cal with 20 points. St. Thomas was outstanding as well. Michigan beats Toledo 96-92. This was a hell of a game because, guys, Toledo is good. I believe they've won the MAC the last 2 years. They've got some all-MAC performers coming back. That was a hell of a game. And Michigan continues to look elite on the offensive end, winning 96-92. And then Penn State picks up a win over the Raging Cajuns, 79-64. So those are just some of the game results that I wanted to highlight. But now let's get into this deep dive with the Illini. Go ahead. Yep. Big ups to my man, Ryan. He is killing it, y'all. Hold on. Let me get back up here. Okay. So let's get into it a little bit. A little deep dive on the Illini. Now, I'm just going to go right into it. Who played well? Drew Gibbs, Lawhorn, Marez Johnson, Trey White, and Kylan Boswell. Dre not only led the team in scoring, but to me, he looked like he belonged. He was comfortable. He was poised. He was aggressive. And he was one of the few guys that actually sat down and played some defense. It's going to be hard to keep Dre out of the lineup based on his comfort level with Brad Underwood and what they're trying to do. But, you know, we forget this kid's a dynamic scorer. He's stronger. He's athletic. He can feel it from long range. He can put it on the deck. And I just think that he's a guy that has been overlooked in the offseason. And I believe that he's going to be a little bit more of a mainstay than even I had anticipated. So I thought he played well. Marez Johnson did really well. He didn't seem phased at all against that veteran athletic front line of Ole Miss. I mean, he played against a couple dudes that are, maybe mid-20s and held his own. Had some really nice finishes, was a recipient of some pretty good passes from Kasparis. And he looked the part. He didn't seem phased. He got on the glass. He was a good defensive stalwart in the paint. So I like what I saw from Marez Johnson. Trey White looked really good until he bumped knees. I believe it was at the end of the first half. But he's a stat stuffer. 6 rebounds, shot the ball well from the field. Wasn't as assertive as I expected him to be, but I think he's just kind of feeling his way out. A new guy coming into a new system, just trying to, maybe not trying to be the lead dog, but he will definitely be one of the guys because he's the most vocal guy on the team. When you come into practice for an Illinois practice, Trey White's mouth is going constantly. He's the best communicator on the team. And so I think that will start to show itself a little bit more. I thought Kylan Boswell did well. He shot the ball well from the field. I thought he passed up on some opportunities trying to get some of his teammates involved, which is a good sign because he knows other guys need to feel it and feel good about what they're doing. Defensively, he was solid. I like the fact that he pushed it up. He gave it up, meaning like when Illinois forced a miss, which was rare in the first half, if it wasn't a turnover or Ole Miss made 3, because it seemed like they shot lights out. But when they did force a miss and they were able to start to push, Kylan one time did a good job of advancing the basketball. And I like that because a lot of times ball dominant guards are reluctant sometimes to give it up on a fast break. But Kylan pitched ahead, let one of his teammates try to make a play. I like that. So I liked the things that I saw from those guys. The guys who I didn't think played well are to be expected. Kasparis, Jocko Shionis, Will Riley, Ben Humrickhouse, and Ty Rogers. Kasparis, he's a guy it's gonna take him time to get used to the physicality of college basketball. There were several times when he got deep on his penetration. I think that he's confident, ladies and gentlemen, because of his size and his ability to shift speeds and his strength. But against Ole Miss, you guys got to understand, Chris Beard might be the best defensive coach in the country. When you pair athletes that Ole Miss has and you pair that with Chris Beard's defensive philosophy and the way that they get guys to play hard, this is a perfect game for Kasparis for him to understand there are going to be times when you get in the penetration deep, and he got fouled a couple times and the rest didn't call it because you're a freshman. That's just the way it is. They're not going to give you that. And so, and they know that they're not going to bail you out. These officials are savvy. You get too deep on your penetration, you may not have anywhere to go. He got left one time deep and then tried to turn back and the guy stripped him. He came right one time. It looked like he was trying to go up. Another guy stripped him. And some of them were probably fouls because he was looking around at the refs like, what's going on? He'll learn. And this guys, and hear me out when I talk about who didn't play well. I'm not bashing on these guys. This is what I expected. Will Riley came in the game. And if you listen to the interview with me and Rapheal Davis, we talked about Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey going for theirs, putting their head down like they used to in high school because they would try to figure it out on their own. Well, Kasparis and Will Riley have some of that. Will Riley's starting to hunt his shots. He hit 2 tough threes. I think 2 were contested. So he's a tough shot maker. He doesn't take great shots. They're not high percentage yet, but it will come. It will come. He was hunting for his shots. That's where he got in trouble. But when he was spacing the floor and he was just catch and shoot guy, he was pretty good. But he's going to have to get stronger. He just needs more experience. And guys, remember, he's supposed to be a senior in high school. So he reclassed up. So he's really a baby trying to be out there against the likes of Matthew Morrell, who's a stone cold veteran and strong and big as hell. You know what I mean? And so Ben Humricaus, here's the issue that I'm going to see with Ben Humricaus all season long. He didn't hit shots. I believe he was 1 of 6. Ben Humricaus was 1 of 5, 0 of 4 from 3, 1 rebound in 21 minutes. That's not enough for a guy that's 6'8", 6'9". Ben's going to have to figure out how to affect the game outside of only shooting the 3. We heard Underwood in the offseason talk about him possibly being an action guy in their offense. I need to see a little bit more of that, because if he's at least against Ole Miss in the exhibition, he was affected greatly by his offense not being on track. That's not unusual. A lot of players in college are like that. So, but I'm going to be curious to see, can he affect the game differently? Because remember, Ben Humricaus set the team record in the mile. This dude ran a sub 420 mile. He beat Trent Frazier's record. So this kid his conditioning is elite. His ability to shoot the ball is elite. When you're that well conditioned, you've got to have other factors. You've got to influence the game in other ways than just a catch and shoot guy, in my opinion. And then Ty Rodgers, all those jumpers in the offseason, and he was 0 of 2 from the field. He didn't I thought he had a couple opportunities to step into some shots, and he turned them down. And I'm like, that's the old Ty Rodgers. I want to see the new Ty Rodgers that catches and releases and it doesn't matter. The practice that I saw a couple weeks ago, he caught a pass in a live scrimmage, caught a pass, raised from 3, no hesitation, bottoms. That's the first time I'd ever seen him hit a 3. No wasted motion on a shot. So I thought to myself, once I left practice, okay, we're going to see Ty shoot 2 or 3 jumpers a game. He tended to revert back in the exhibition. I don't know why. I'm hoping that was an aberration, but he didn't look good to me. And he had a lot of turnovers. They had him listed with 4 turnovers. They only had Kasparas down for 4. I thought he had like 8. I counted about at least 7. They only credit him for 4, but I thought he had like 7 turnovers. So I was a little disappointed in that. But here's the thing. That's why you play the exhibition games. That's why this is preseason. Things look raggedy in the early on. I mean, I remember us when we were playing and we would play teams that we were going to beat handily in the non-conference slate. And we'd have 18 to 20 turnovers. And these games counted. These weren't exhibition games. These were early non-conference games. So things are going to be ugly for this team, because if you guys notice something, if you watch the exhibition game against Ole Miss, one of the things that you're going to notice is who takes the ball out of bounds consistently. They haven't figured that out. Who's going to be, they didn't have an opportunity to because the game was a blowout, but who's going to get the ball at the end of the game to make plays? I think it's going to be Kasparas, but we'll see. The one thing he really did well, knocked all his free throws down. So he's going to be able to not be a liability at the line. So that was a really good sign. But I don't know who their go-to guy is going to be down the stretch. If Ivisic gets in trouble, like gets in foul trouble or has injury or has some eligibility issues, who's going to back up Marez Johnson? Because from what I saw from Humricaus, he's not defending is not his strong suit. And so Kerry Booth got in, I believe he played 9 minutes. Kerry Booth is going to have to work with Fletcher a lot, because although he is athletic and he can straight line, jump, and run, his lateral mobility needs big time improvement. His strength below his rib cage needs big time improvement. And so I think the effort is there. I just think that his body needs to transform before he's going to really be a steady contributor for the Illini front line, because that front line is thin. And I think with the roster construction of the Illini this season, I think you're going to see them play a lot more zone than you saw in years past. Plus, the defense was horrible. And Underwood said it. What was it? At Big Ten Media Day, he was saying how bad the defense was. So that didn't. I wasn't shocked. I was a little concerned, however, because it wasn't just defensive breakdowns. It was guys being late to closeouts. After the fifth made three in the first half, you would think that, all right, you got to press up on these guys and make them put it on the deck. And the Illini defenders, almost all of them to a T, were reluctant. Now, Drake Gibbs Lawhorn, I thought, did a good job of closing out on shooters. I thought he was aggressive in closing out on shooters. But everyone else was a step slow in getting the guys that had already hit a three. Like, you got to crowd a guy and get him off the three and then trust that your teammates behind you will have your back if you get beat off the bounce. But the Illini defense was so soft, and they really didn't make a lot of adjustments after they got blitzed early on. Now, part of that defensive weakness, I think, was a ton of turnovers early on. If you guys saw Underwood at halftime, he referenced the fact that after it was like the first 7-8 minutes, Illinois may have had 10 turnovers. I mean, and you can't get it in any kind of flow on either side of the floor. So it was just far too many turnovers, and maybe that affected their defense. But guys, here, I'm overjoyed because I don't know if there could have been a much better opponent in exhibition for this young Illini team that's trying to gel. Ole Miss are some old dudes. And here's the difference, guys. When you're depending on guys who are transferring in from other programs, they still have a sense of what to expect. They have a sense of how hard you've got to go in the pre-conference and preseason to be ready to play on opening night. Ole Miss is ready to play right now. They're ready to compete in the SEC right now because they got a bunch of old dudes. And Chris Beard is the type that he and Brad Underwood are cut from the same cloth. And so he gets after guys. And I think with older guys, you can push them a little bit more. Younger guys who come in highly touted that are trying to figure out their way, sometimes they're not as they resist instruction sometimes. Not all the times, but sometimes they get frustrated as young players because so much is coming at them. With Ole Miss, Chris Beard can get on those guys, and they're savvy enough and have enough experience that it goes in one ear and out the other. And they're like, yeah, man, whatever. And so it's going to take a while for these guys to understand it. But I guarantee you this, ladies and gentlemen, this week in practice for the Illini is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be some sore behinds come tomorrow through the rest of the week because they're going to be running. They're going to be hitting each other. They're going to be doing closeout drills. They're going to be doing defensive slide drills. They might be taking charges. It's going to be ugly this week because the offense is way ahead of the defense. And I don't give a damn how good you are offensively. If you can't defend a little bit, you're going to have a tough time outscoring people night in, night out. That's a lot easier said than done. So, Brad said the first 13 minutes, they've thrown the ball everywhere. They settled down and played better after that point. And it's hard to see because the score was just out of reach and Ole Miss had control from the scoring standpoint, but you saw good things after that. So I was encouraged. I saw what I thought I would see, freshmen struggling to understand the physicality and the speed at this level. They get kind of used to their teammates, but then you step out against other people and you're like, dang, these are grown ass men. This is real. So all that being said, I was encouraged with the way that once they settled down, you could see the flow. You could see some of the units that will work well. That unit with Trey White, I think it was Gibbs Lawhorn, Trey White, maybe Kylan was on the floor, Morez Johnson, and maybe Ty, or maybe Kerry Booth. That was their best defensive unit. Not necessarily their best offensive unit, but that unit I thought had some really good series of defense where they eliminated open shots, they protected on the penetration to get to the bucket, and they played better. So I think you're going to see this season, because if you look at the Illini roster, outside of Ty Rodgers, Trey White, and Gibbs Lawhorn, and Kylan Boswell, they really don't have guys that are bona fide defenders. I think Morez Johnson will become that with his strength and willingness to play hard. I think he can become that. But I don't think it's really fair to expect Jocko Shionis and Riley, even Henriquez. I don't know that these guys are ever going to be really good defenders. They won't be Luke Goody-like and get ISO'd every time, hopefully. I think they'll be better. They can be better than that. But at this juncture right now, that's kind of how they look to me on defense. Kaspar is not so much, excuse me, I think he can be better. I think he can be a respectable defender. I don't know about Will Riley, because when I watch him, I could tell that he didn't play a whole lot of defense in high school. It wasn't required. So that's going to be a long uphill battle to get him to be a respectable defender. I think Ben Henriquez, he might not just be able to defend. I don't know why with that conditioning, the elite conditioning level that he has. He's just got to put forth more effort and maybe do a lot more film work. And I think that will come when they get into pre-conference slate and conference slate, and they're starting to really scout teams. He'll have an opportunity to look at who he's going against and find different ways to be a better defender. But overall, I love the fact that Underwood took them down to Ole Miss and played this old veteran physical team, because he's got a lot of film to show his players. They've got a lot of things to work on. But I think I still liked a lot of the things that I saw from them. All right. Our tribe member, hold on, let me take this off. Our tribe member appreciation today goes to Lynn Holly. Lynn has been rocking with the tribe from day one, back when I was on my cell phone in the closet. Lynn has been a consistent supporter of Bardo's Breakdown. Lynn, thank you very much. Thank you for letting your son Hunter work with me this summer. Great young man. Love this kid. So Lynn Holly is our tribe member appreciation for this week. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate your support. All right. I think, let me go back to this real quick. Okay. Hold on. Thank you, Ryan. All right, let's get to your questions, because I see there's a lot of people up here. Y'all got thoughts about this Illini. What's up, Monty? Real concerned with our defense, and your job is to make that feel better. I hope when I just broke that down, gave you guys some hope and understanding that this team is going to look bad early on, guys. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be ugly early on. Remember, I was telling you that Alabama game, that's going to be ugly. Unless they drastically change between now and then, that could be ugly. But that's okay, because Brad Underwood, he's trying to get his guys to be their best in March. And so they're going to take their lumps. But I still saw enough that I liked in that scrimmage. Hey, Stacey, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Fly, Illini, fly. Rough weekend. What happened in Oregon? Illinois goes down to number 1, Oregon Ducks. Come on, guys. You didn't think Illinois was going to go in and beat Oregon, did you? Like, really? You didn't think that was going to happen, did you? Now, they got blasted, but Oregon's number 1 in the country for a reason. What happened down in Oxford? We okay? Yeah, more than okay. And guys, this is what the exhibition games are for. This is why you play good teams, so you find out who you are. You go back to the drawing board. I guarantee you, when Illinois opens their regular season next week, they will look a lot better. Trust me. I have no doubts in my mind about that. What's up, Chad? Obviously, since they can't play defense, their scrimmage means nothing. Ole Miss ate their lunch. There's no first round pick I could see. They can't make shots. Ole Miss barely missed. Yeah, Chad, I think that's a little critical. And when people are projected first round draft picks, the key word in that phrase is projected. That's all it is. It's just a projection. So don't, like my dad, Dr. Harold Bardo, happy birthday, Dad. Love you. He told me all the time, don't get too high on the highs, don't get too low on the lows. I know fans are fanatical, but keep that in mind when you're watching this exhibition game. Because again, these guys have not seen action. They had a scrimmage against Butler, but they never gone to a foreign territory, a visiting, an away game. And when you're away and you got to eat different food and you got to be in a hotel and you got to move around a little bit, it's different. And so all those off the court things need to be worked out as well. And so they'll get better. They'll get better. I think Kasparis was out of sync because he's just, it's a learning process. It's trial by fire. And he's going to figure out, he'll learn quickly because he's a smart player. He'll learn quickly how to adjust. They'll show him on film that, if you're getting this deep, you either go up for a pull-up jump shot or get all the way to the rim, because sometimes you're not going to be able to get all the way down and then stuff opens up and you can make a fantastic play, which he has a really good ability to do so. But sometimes you get in trouble that way. And I think that he'll clean that up. I was glad that he struggled. I'm glad that Will Riley struggled. I'm glad they all struggle, guys, because if they go down there and they play well and they beat Ole Miss, now you can't tell them nothing. You got to hit their head with a mallet to get them through the door. But since they got humbled, now you come back to work. Now you get better. And anytime this season, those guys start to smell themselves, Brad can pull out the film against Ole Miss and okay, let's stay grounded, guys. We got a lot of work to do. All right. I think Riley was like, I ain't going to get beat by 20 and took it on. Yeah. He's a deer in headlights right now. So much stuff is flying at him. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Kasparis was terrible in an exhibition. He had to be double-digit negatives in grade. Bad first showing. I mean bad. Okay. I mean, you didn't like what happened. Missed free throws. Yeah, this missed free throws, bad passes, terrible defense. And I swear there's no movement offense other than 2 out of 5. It's so frustrating to watch. It ain't hard to guard 3 guys that don't move. Well, Chad, they're still figuring it out. That's why they play these games. They're trying different combinations. They're trying different offensive schemes. They'll get it right. They'll get it right. Yeah, you like Chad or you like Ty. Ty didn't play very well, though, in my opinion. With such a young team, will Illinois have trouble keeping players beyond this year if not successful? Or is this to be expected? New year, new players every year. Yes, Thomas. It's new players every year. Purdue, Michigan State, Marquette under Shaka Smart, they dipped their toe into the transfer portal because their cultures are strong. And it's difficult for programs with such strong culture to get guys to buy in quickly. The reason Marquette is so good every year is that they've had guys in their program 2 or 3 years that have had to develop behind players like Tyler Kolek and Oso Ighodaro, that now when they get their opportunity, they know exactly what to expect. They know exactly how hard Shaka Smart wants them to play, and they understand what's expected of them in the program. And so when you have new players every year, it's going to take a month or two for those guys to gel, to start to understand what Underwood is expecting, and to come together. And so, yes, this is going to be the norm, Thomas. New players, new year. Riley did not play well, but those back-to-back threes meant absolutely nothing. But, man, it just looks so pretty. You were right about him not starting, by the way, but he honestly probably should have. I don't think you want to put him in the fire like that. You don't want to kill a kid's confidence. And so Kasparis has had a lot more playing experience, especially in the Division II over in Spain. So he's had a lot more playing experience against older guys. And so if he has a bad game, which I thought he did, he showed good things. But I think overall he had a poor game, too many turnovers. But he'll bounce back easier. If you throw Will Riley in too early and he has a really bad game, because I think he's his biggest critic, you could really injure a guy's confidence that way. So I don't know that starting Will right now is the right move. Not saying that he can't be eventually. I just think starting off is probably not the best thing. Ty was terrible. 0 points. He was 0 of 2 from the field, 4 turnovers. Wasn't all that great on the other end either. But nobody was, except for Gibbs Lawhorn. He was the only one that really I thought was effective defensively. So, yeah, Ty had a poor game. Chad is going in. They look slow, dribbled way too much, no penetration. They were down the entire game. Basketball IQ is low. Well, Chad, again, you have you have to give the opponent some credit. Don't worry, y'all. It's sweet iced tea. We're in season now. I can't drink on the air. Their basketball IQ will improve. You got to give credit to Ole Miss. They were preseason 9th in SEC. I'd go to Vegas and put money they'll be in the top 5 of the SEC because of the way they defend. They're old. Matthew Morrell can go get it. Blake, wait a minute. This kid that came off the bench, Jermaine Brakefield, is a baller. I think he's a transfer from Duke. Mikhail Jones-Brown is a baller. I mean, Dre Davis is a transfer from Seton Hall. I've covered him in the past. Baller. Like Malik Dia, baller. Like they got dudes, man. They got guys can really flat out play. So you got to tip your a little bit of this was Ole Miss. It wasn't just Illini just playing poorly. This was Ole Miss playing well. The Rebels hit. They were 12 of 23 from the three. In the first half, they were 7 of 14 from three. It's tough to keep pace with a team when they're shooting that well. Illini didn't shoot bad. They shot 50% in the first half. They shot just shy of 44% from the game. So they weren't poor. They weren't necessarily terrible from shooting. They just had far too many turnovers. What's up, Carol? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I was really impressed with Gibbs Lawhorn yesterday. He's a lot stronger from last year. Haven't heard about him in the offseason. I hope he doesn't get lost in the shuffle. He won't get lost in the shuffle, Carol. Not playing like that. I think he opened some eyes a little bit because until some of these guys feel comfortable playing away from home, Gibbs Lawhorn he's going to be on the floor. He may not start. He's going to be on the floor. AVP and Chad Alder going at it a little bit. Oh. Okay. Curtis Dietz. I like Purdue winning the conference. Curtis, I think me and Rapheal agree with you on that. When you have a veteran backcourt that's been to a national title game, they're not gonna be fazed by anything. So when your two highest usage players have won back-to-back Big Ten championships, that's a great place to start. Zach Edey's you can't replace a generational talent like that, but they have enough depth, and I think Trey Kaufman-Wren is a bucket getter. They have enough depth and athleticism on the wings with Heidi and Colvin that I think they could give people a lot of problems, and they know the grind of the Big Ten conference slate. And so I like them winning the conference as well. I also think Indiana's going to give them a run for their money. Oh, Fly Line Fly says, I was actually more concerned about the offense than defense. Okay. We knew the D would have some hiccups. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I gotta take that off. My computer responds when my phone goes off. Let me put this on airport mode. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. And they were making almost all their shots. Offense was supposed to be our calling card. When you have a lot of turnovers early and you're giving up open threes, you're not going to get into any offensive flow. That's not going to happen. When you're always taking the ball out of the net because someone scored and their back set up defensively, and it's one of the better defensive teams in the country, your offense is not going to look good. So that's why I was so happy that they played Ole Miss in this exhibition game. Because, again, now you've got enough film to keep guys honest and humble and to make them go back to the drawing board. They've got to get a lot better, but the talent, the potential is there for this team. So I wouldn't be too upset by that. You know what? I didn't see that game. Fly Line That Fly. I was down in Carbondale celebrating my family. So I didn't see. I got to go back and look at that. Again, Toledo, I believe, has won back-to-back MAC championships. They're an old team that can play, man. Don't sleep on these teams, guys. With the transfer portal and NIL, there's a lot of parity in college basketball. Chad All said, what stands out all those games is none, but Illini was a double-digit loss. We lost by 17, and most of the game was over 20. They weren't ready at all, and the hype didn't back it up. It's early, Chad. Keep the faith, brother. It's early. Carol said, I was looking at the early Illini schedule. I'm looking at getting tickets for Maryland Eastern Shore game. On the schedule, it says reunion night. Do you know anything about this? Will they introduce the former players to the crowd? Thanks. I saw a blurb about this, Carol. I don't know exactly what they're doing. Brad doesn't like to bring players back during the season like that. So I don't know. I haven't heard much about it. So I don't know. I can't really share anything. I'll go on the page and see if DIA is posted anything. That's right, Carol. Great minds think alike. I agree. Illini have to make their free throws. Momentum killer every time you get down there and break them. No doubt. They'll get better, though. Brad did say he wants exhibitions. He said it should be more like the NBA, where they get 2 or 3 exhibitions and they can travel to different places, because now you're really simulating what a road game against a power conference opponent looks like. So I agree with him. I hope they do this. What's up, Phil? Good to see you, my man. This looks like our team from 2 years ago. A ton of talent, but chemistry will be a big challenge. I think we will see flashes, but ultimately be a down year from last year. And we just have to hope we can keep the core to make a run next year. Okay. I mean, to expect this team to be an Elite 8 participant and a Big Ten champion, that's a lot. But I think the potential is there. But I like your points here, Phil. Very well said. Carol said, I really noticed the line are very young and inexperienced with playing with each other. The bright lights really got to them. Looked like to me they were going through the motions, especially in the first half. I do see a lot of talent with the squad. The Illini bodies surprised me some. Not a lot of big dudes like Ty and Dre. Yeah, guys, when you get punched in the mouth early, and it's not even regular season. This is exhibition. When you get hit in the mouth early, and then you're playing a physical group, and then you're on the road, and then you have a bunch of turnovers, you're going to look like you're going through the motions. Trust me, guys, this was great for this team. Don't be discouraged. This was tremendous. This is every coach's dream, because when you're telling guys in all season, you're telling them stuff, they're like, yeah, man, whatever. Yeah, man, whatever. Until your mouth gets bloodied, then it's like, oh, okay, let me pay attention so I don't get punched in the mouth again. Don't trip, guys. It's gonna be okay. Ron Charles, a week from today, I will be Cleveland State at Michigan on Big Ten Network. First game of the year. Really looking forward to covering this Michigan ball club. That's where I'll be a week from tonight. And so I'm going to probably tape something early in the day for Bardo's breakdown, but I'll have something for you guys, kind of a preview of Monday night's games. But yeah, my season starts a week from today. I can't wait. Be in Ann Arbor, Michigan, covering the Cleveland. I think they're the Vikings, Cleveland State Vikings versus the Michigan Wolverines. Carol, that might be the way they want to play defensively. What drove Carol nuts, the Illini kept going over the screen on defense. Therefore, the Illini were chasing. That might be the way that they want to play. But it will change up a lot this year. It'll change. What's up, Thomas? Good to see you, man. Mississippi looked so much faster. Anticipation of Illinois passing was way ahead of Illini players. Thought process causing turnovers. There's a lot of ranked non-conference games. 20 wins. Oh, Thomas, I think this team can get to 20 wins. I don't have any doubt about that. Old dudes, man. That's why when you in college basketball, you got to be a little bit older to have success. Hey Dory, how you feeling? How's the rehab coming? Need to see who will emerge as leader and communicate on the floor. Trey White is that leader right now. I think you'll see Kasparis start to fill into that as well. Big Yens, what's up, Yens? Good to see you, partner. Hope you're doing well, man. Shoot me a message or something and let me know what's going on with you, what you're doing these days and everything. Hopefully you're still involved in basketball. Jens Kuyava, former Fighting Illini great. My teammate, good to see you, partner. M. Bratz, thank you for the happy birthday wishes to my dad, Harold Bardo. G to the W. I think it's your first time on Bardo's Breakdown. If it is, welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your time. 2 rules on Bardo's Breakdown. Come strong or don't come at all, first one. And 2, we just like to be respectful. That's it. Come strong with your opinions, and you got a good one here. They are a team of 10 new guys. That's not something that usually gets worked out in mere weeks. Great point. That's the statement of the day. I'm starring that one because that's exactly right. That's why you want to play tough competition early, like Tom Izzo does with Michigan State, so that even if you lose games early on, it doesn't matter because now you're ready for conference play. You're going to get enough high-quality games in conference to where your at-large resume will be fine. You just want to keep building. You want to play your best in March, not in November. And certainly the lineup will have some growing pains, but that's to be expected. Thank you for that. G to the W. What's up, Philip? Nothing like getting whipped in a meaningless game to motivate the team. Agreed. Uh, Brandon Chalmers, Purdue is picked to win the Big Ten. They're going to be a factor. They lost Edie, but they've got a lot of guys back. Trey Kaufman-Wren, Fletcher Lawyer, Braden Smith, Miles Colvin, Cam Heide, um, um, Will Berg, Caleb First, who was escaping me there. And then you got Daniel Jacobson. You got Jakari Harris, Glenn Big Dog Robinson's son. You got a lot of depth there. CJ Wilcox is a bucket. So Purdue's going to be a factor. What's up, Joe the Stovall Tribe member? Playing defense is like eating your vegetables when you were young. Offense is the dessert. You don't want to eat them, the veggies, but it's what you have to do to get big and strong. They will be different by January. Totally agree, Joe. Thanks for tuning in, bro. I appreciate you. Brandon, good point. Don't judge a team till they get at least 10 games or more in. Sometimes fans don't realize it takes time. You know what it is, Brandon? I think fans do realize it takes time. But what you see with Illini fans is that hold on. There we go. Illini fans are as passionate a group of college basketball fans as you're going to find in the country. And they so desperately want their team to be good. That's all it is. You know, you're talking to a franchise, a program and a fan base that are coming off an Elite Eight season, a Big Ten championship season, a season with an All-American in Terrence Shannon Jr., a season with Marcus Domask and Coleman Hawkins. I mean, it was an outstanding season, and that love affair and that glow is still there on the Illini fan base. So they're wanting so badly to maintain or exceed this level. That's all it is. But that's a very good point. I think Trey White is a leader right now, and I think Kasparis will emerge as one as the season goes along, Chad. Yep, hoop baller scoop, no doubt. I'm right there with you. I saw maybe 10 minutes of this game. I saw it early. I think Michigan looks good. And the score was 96-92. So Michigan's going to be one of the fastest paced teams in the Big Ten this year. And I don't know that under Dusty May that they're going to be a Ken Palm top 50 defense. I don't think you can expect to see that. Now, Ken Palm top 25 offense, probably. With this group, yes. Michigan looked good. Philip, I don't know that Gibbs Lawhorn needs a starting spot. He might be that Vinny Johnson, sixth man coming off the bench role. And if he embraces that, I think it'd be a good one. Maybe he will start some games based on lineups and things, but I think he's going to be effective whether he starts or not. But Jay Smith agrees with you. Okay. Wow. Dan McGlathery. Dan, I hope DGL's loyalty to the Final Illini is rewarded this basketball season. I think it will be, Dan. I think it will be. Thanks for tuning in, Tribe member. Appreciate you. M. Brotz. Good point. Creighton went on the road, gave up 92 points to Creighton and lost. So, guys, take these results with a grain of salt. Don't get too high or get too low on them. Dan says the Illini will hit their stride by mid-December. We'll see. Chad all says, honestly, I agree with what you're saying. They need to be humbled, but fundamentally for guys with experience, we can't make excuses. They got beat. No, they got beat. They got dominated early. No disagreement there, Chad. Um, Carol said, "Do you remember playing exhibition games against teams like Marathon Oil? It would have been better playing inter squad scrimmage." No, Carol, it would have been, to me, in my opinion, it'd been better to play a big, well, was it Big 8 then? It'd been better to play a Big 8 or a Pac-10 team, or even a Big East team, teams we weren't going to see in the regular season, just like they're doing now. I'm total agreement with Brad Underwood. Let teams play 2 or 3 exhibition games that they can go on the road and raise money for charity. Great causes. Raising money for great causes. It's a no-lose situation. I'd like to see it. Ray, I think you're going to see a team. Rapheal Davis said this, and I tend to agree with him. You're going to see this Michigan State team get back to a little bit more of what you're accustomed to seeing with Michigan State. I think they're going to be able to get out and transition a lot better this season. I think they're a little bit more athletic this season. I think Frankie Fiddler will give them that piece that Tyson Walker provided with offense. And I think their bigs will get much better as the season goes along. Zampala, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's a solid big. And where Illinois is thin up front, Michigan State is loaded. Zambala, what's his name? Well, Xavier Booker, Carson Cooper, and Jackson Kohler. Like, they've got 4 guys 6'11" and over. So I think if Jaden Akins is the key to that season, if Jaden Akins can be close to an all Big Ten performer, Fears, the point guard, if he can stay healthy and just keep teams honest with his offense, I think Cohen Carr is still the best athlete in the Big Ten. I think he's going to be improved. You'll see a freshman and sophomore jump from him. I think you're going to see a freshman and sophomore jump from Xavier Booker. I think he's going to start to come into his own a little bit. Trey Holloman is going to be a guy that people are going to overlook. I think he's going to have a really good season. So Michigan State's going to get back to being a little bit more Michigan State-like than we're used to seeing. And then I forgot about Jace Richardson is going to what's his name? Kerr Tang. These freshmen are talented. So Michigan State is going to be a little bit different. They're going to get back to like athletic, running, scoring, tough rebound, pretty good defensive teams, I think, this season. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll entertain this. F your mother. Off topic here. Hope you don't mind. What do you think sleep patterns should look like? Bro, I never sleep at night. Only about 2 to 3 hours in the day. Got a demanding job. I ain't gonna live long, and I'm black. Well, F your mother. Let me make a suggestion here. You might be one of those nocturnal types. My youngest son is like that. Get blackout curtains if you don't have them, so that when you close everything, you have it's dark in your room. Develop a pattern before you go to sleep. Try not to look at any screens at least an hour before going to sleep. And then read something or journal or listen to really soothing sounds. I like ocean sounds when I'm having trouble sleeping. Some of those things will help. Pay attention to what you eat close to going to sleep, because that can affect you getting to sleep. Look at your diet. Look at what you're ingesting 2 to 3 hours before going to sleep. And I hope that helps. But if you're a nocturnal type, I know you said you have a demanding job. Sometimes look into meditation, because it sounds like you have a monkey mind, like your mind is always racing. Look into meditation. That's something that can calm your mind. It can help. It can help you throughout the day, and then with a calmer mind, it might help you get down at night. I hope that helps. But if you want more information, shoot me a message, and I'll connect with you, and I'll talk with you a little bit further to see what your habits are and see if I can give you some pointers and help you figure that out. Um, AVPDS, we are the Big Ten program the last 5 years, and they're going to have us start on Big Ten Plus. No respect, Big Ten, terrible. Well, let's see. Let me look this up. Oh shoot, I can't on my phone. Um, I'm not gonna look into that. Don't look too much into that. These are networks decisions. It's all love. Hey Gary, 5 out is a great idea, but this team will need to play better pick and roll and more work from the inside. It's early, Gary. It's early. It'll get better. Trust me. Tyler Underwood, who is in charge of the offense, is one of the better young offensive coordinators in the business. He knows what he's doing. They'll get it right. Um, ooh, Joseph Bertrand. That's a name from the past. Dory, he could be, but I think Gibbs Lawhorn, if he gets consistent time, he might be top 4 scorers on the team. And just the way that he sits down and defends, he can rebound. He's not afraid of the moment. I think he's gonna play quite a bit. And if he is 6-man, good. Because I think that it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't matter whether he starts or finishes. I just think that he needs to be on the floor. Jaden Akins can he average 18 to 20 a game? He shows potential, then has a 5-point game. I'm with you. The consistency has eluded him all career long. And so let's see. We'll see. I think he has a potential. But again, that consistency makes me a little skittish in going out on the line and making that claim. Yeah, Chad. Sorry, folks. You get millions in NIL money, then there are expectations. You're right. You can have a bad game, but you better show up and play. And again, Chad, I don't think it was a lack of effort or want to. I've been in those situations. You're on the road. You don't know what to expect from your teammates. You get out on the floor and you get hit fast and hard. And Ole Miss is physical. That's a crisp beer. That's why Brad Underwood set up this exhibition. He wanted his guys to look bad. Not bad, but he wanted to figure out what they need to work on. You're not going to figure that out if you're playing Marathon Oil or Little Sisters of the Poor. You're not going to find that out. The only way that you find out what you need to work on is going up against elite competition, and that's what they did. So it's not like they didn't fight or they didn't have effort. I've been on that side where a team comes out and they can't miss, and they're checking you every time, and the refs aren't calling it, certain contact, and you're a freshman looking around like, what the heck is going on? I've been there. So don't take it as a lack of effort or want to. They just got pounded. They got hit in the mouth. Carol, no, I'm not calling the Maryland Eastern Shore game. The games that I have for the Illini, I've got SIU at Illinois, November 8th. Oakland at Illinois, November 13th. And then that's it until conference play. So I've got 2 early Illini games. SIU at Illinois on Peacock Friday, November 8th. And I think it's that next Wednesday, November 13th, Oakland at Illinois. So those are the two that I have early on. All right. Okay. Will you be traveling to Eugene, Oregon, and Seattle Illini travel games? These look like fun travel games. Any comments on these venues? We don't know our schedules yet. For the networks give us our schedules for November and December, and then in about the next week or two they'll finalize the season. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing in January. Knowing these networks though, they're a little cheap, so I don't anticipate doing a whole. I don't know if I'll do any of the games on the West Coast. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath though. Let's put it like that. All right. Looks like that's about it, guys. Remember, we're a week away from the start of the season. I want you guys to consider going to bardostribe.com and getting your free copy of the guide to the new Big Ten. But I also want you to consider joining one of the paid memberships, because this Thursday, I'm going to be going live with those paid memberships. They get to ask me as many questions as they like. We have a Q&A session in our Zoom calls. And I want you guys to consider joining one of those membership levels, because you're not going to have access to guys like me that are one of the voices of the Big Ten Conference. And any questions that you have, if you want to talk strategy, you want to talk players, you want me to go in depth on somebody, that's all available if you join one of the paid tiers. So go to bardostribe.com, get your free copy of Guide to the Big Ten first, and then consider joining one of the paid tiers, because you won't regret it. Thank you, Carol, so much for always supporting Bardo's Breakdown. We love you here. Love you all. Thank you guys for tuning in to Bardo's Breakdown. And we got 1 week, y'all. 1 week to the start of college basketball season. I can't wait. Happy birthday, Harold Bardo. I love you very much. Love y'all. Until next time, holla, y'all.